So, who are we talking about here? Who are these insiders? Well, think of literally anyone with access to a company's secrets before they hit the news. A director, a consultant, even a geologist out in the field. This whole story is about what happens when these insiders have an information advantage, and how that advantage went from being a perk to being a felony. And what's really wild is that a law against fraud had been on the books since 1934, but for 30 years, it was basically just ignored. The line between a smart tip and an illegal act was so blurry that this whole culture of picking up crumbs wasn't just accepted, it was how business got done. Okay, so our story really kicks off with a company called Texas Gulf Sulphur. And these guys were on a massive, high-stakes treasure hunt. They were sinking millions of dollars into drilling for minerals all across the vast, icy Canadian landscape. And mostly, they were finding absolutely nothing. Until November 1963. At a site they called Kid 55, their geologists pulled a core sample from the ground that wasn't just good, it was incredible. We're talking an off-the-charts find worth hundreds of millions of dollars. You'd think champagne corks would be popping, right? Wrong. Instead of celebrating, they went into full-on spy movie mode. I'm not kidding. They were ordered to physically disguise the drill site by planting trees and moving rocks over it. And why? The goal was to secretly buy up all the surrounding land from unsuspecting owners before anyone knew there was a billion-dollar treasure trove sitting right under their feet. But look, a secret this big is almost impossible to keep. While the official company line was complete silence, the insiders, the geologists, the directors, their friends, even their families, they all knew the stock was about to go to the moon. So they started quietly buying up shares and options, locking in gigantic profits for themselves. By the spring of '64, those whispers got way too loud. Rumors were swirling everywhere, and the stock price started to creep up. Now the company was in a bind. They hadn't finished buying all that land yet, so they decided to do something incredibly audacious. They decided to lie to everyone. On April 12th, they put out this official press release, and it was specifically designed to just kill all the buzz. They told the world the rumors were exaggerated and the results were ambiguous. It was a complete and total corporate denial. And this just perfectly shows you the deception. The public heard, "Don't worry about it, it's fake news." Meanwhile, the insiders knew, with almost total certainty, that they were sitting on a fortune. This wasn't a mistake or a misjudgment, it was a calculated lie, designed to manipulate the entire market. The impact was immediate. Regular folks who trusted the company's official word either sold their shares or decided not to buy. And at the same time, the insiders, armed with the truth, just kept scooping up more stock at these artificially low prices, profiting directly from the lie they helped create. But of course, a lie that big can't last forever. Just 4 days later, the company finally had to come clean. But even in this moment of truth, another, much more subtle deception was happening, one that took advantage of the very speed of information itself. Okay, so here's how it all played out. At 10 a.m. sharp, the press conference begins. The massive discovery is officially announced. But remember, this is 1964. News traveled slow. The announcement wouldn't actually hit the Dow Jones ticker tape, the thing every broker in the country was watching, for another 54 minutes. This created a 54-minute gap, a golden window of opportunity. And two directors, a Mr. Coates and a Mr. Lamont, they jumped right through it. They were physically at the press conference. They heard the news at 10 a.m., picked up the phone to their brokers, and bought even more shares before the news hit the public tape and the price went through the roof. And this, right here, raises the absolute crucial question that would end up in court. Is news really public just because it was spoken out loud in one single room? Or does it need to actually reach everybody in the market before the game is fair again? So the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, finally steps in. They sued Texas Gulf, not for stealing money, but for stealing something way more valuable, a head start. This wasn't just another lawsuit. It was a battle to define what fairness even means for the modern stock market. The whole case really boiled down to two fundamental questions. First, was that secret drill result material information? Was it significant enough to actually matter? And second, when exactly does information become public enough for an insider to trade on it legally? On that first question, the court came up with this fantastic analogy. They said trading with that secret knowledge wasn't just a smart bet, it was like betting on a horse you know has been doped. It totally changes the odds, it's not a fair race. And that's the key. Material information isn't about certainty, it's about anything that gives you an unfair advantage. And on that second question, the 54-minute glitch, the court was just as clear. They ruled that just saying some words in a conference room isn't nearly enough. Insiders have to wait a reasonable amount of time for the news to be properly disseminated to reach even the simplest, smallest investor out there. And with that, the new rulebook was written. From that point on, if you're an insider with a big secret, you have two choices and only two. Either you disclose it to everyone, or you refrain from trading completely until the public knows what you know. This simple choice, disclose or refrain, finally put an end to the era of picking up crumbs.
Which leaves us with a really fascinating question for our own time. The court's ruling was designed for a 54-minute delay caused by a physical machine. But today, information moves at the speed of light. Trading algorithms can react to a tweet in milliseconds. So, in a world of instant information, what does a reasonable wait even mean